Hello everyone, this is HSYaski here, back with some more StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm 1v1 action. This time it's going to be another series from Zotac Cup. This is going to be a best-of-5 finals between Empire Happy, down in the bottom right side, and up in the top left side. It is going to be Lowly, who I have cast on my channel just a little bit, very recently. Very recently been casting some of his games. Happy I've been casting for quite some time. He has appeared on my channel many a times. So it is going to be a TVZ. I did go ahead and decide to cast this just because, again, the Hellbat change is so earth-shattering that I figured that it should probably be covered a little bit. For those of you who do not know, the Hellbat change is they no longer do additional damage to light units until you research Blue Flame Upgrade, which then also changes their color of the flame, which it didn't used to do. And that's obviously a cosmetic change, but also that's what adds the extra damage to light units. So what that means is Hellbat drops can still be really good if they go undefended, but they will hit a lot later just because you need to get out that upgrade for it to be super effective. So that is a thing. That is something that's different, so I'm kind of curious to see exactly how that shapes up in these matchups. We actually very recently saw some awesome TVZ action on my channel. Some of the most recent games I've been casting are pretty good, so definitely go check those out if you missed them. Also, not many replays having been released lately. However, I did find a place to get lots of really good ones. Some people helping me out there. So hopefully that can continue because there are lots of good games that should go casted. And it is a shame if they go uncasted. Drone right here trying to do a little bit of harass right now. Unfortunately, they do not equip drones with guns. They do not equip drones with banelings that they can shoot out of their mouths. So not really a whole lot that this drone's got to be able to do. And he does decide to go ahead and save it. Sometimes what you'll see players do is steal the one gas to keep it alive. And actually for now, this drone getting a little frisky over here. This is like the TSA at the airport, man, frisking you down, touching every part of you. Although, thankfully for us, they do not pincer you with their giant claws. That would be, at least not yet. Thankfully we haven't reached that point yet. But we do have the spawning pool now down for Lowly. Pretty standard stuff. Reaper expand, it looks like, out of Happy, which this is completely standard. Really, in this matchup, for the most part, the builds tend to be standardized. And the reason that is the case is just because Terran players can wall in, and Terran players have gotten very good at defending versus lots of different kind of early openers. Especially the Reaper on the field, that is something that can scout everything that's headed its way. So you may be watching this and being like, yawn, we've seen this a million times. And while that is the case, it's got to be as the game progresses where the builds really start to diversify. And then, of course, that's when micro starts to come into effect, which I don't know about you guys, but I love watching some TVZ micro because both players have things that explode a lot. Both players, or both races, I guess I should say, have things that are very stationary, like siege tanks and the swarm hosts. Basically, you can see lots of micro versus those, and the Reaper right here trying to harass a little bit. Might actually kill off a drone. Could build a spore collar if it wanted to, but no, the drone does go down, and that Reaper is going to be quite happy with that pickup. We'll be able to kill off a Zergling as well. Keep in mind when you're doing this micro with the Reaper, you have to individually attack the exact Zergling that you want to kill off, because otherwise it will just attack the one that is closest to him. Oh, is he actually going to get more? Yes, he will. That Reaper is going to survive, I do believe. There we go. Nice harassment so far out of Happy. Lowly not going to be too happy about that. Shaboom. I'm so good at puns. And the two Reapers now out at the front base, and are at the front of the base. And really, with two Reapers, this is still a nuisance. You can kill off drones and stuff like that, but you can't kill off things like queens. So losing a drone or two here is to kind of be expected. Losing a queen would be very shocking. And the queen right here slowly working it down. We'll be able to kill off one of the Reapers. I don't know if killing that one drone was worth it to end up losing one of those Reapers, because grabbing both the watchtowers is vital. Zerg players always so used to having those watchtowers, but against Reapers, not the case. You have to have is it 2 Zerglings or 3 now that kill a Reaper? I'm not sure exactly in a straight-on battle, but either way, you're going to need to be able to send quite a few over there to grab those watchtowers. So keeping the Reapers alive is a top priority, but right now it looks like this Reaper, his time may be running out as he is trapped in the corner, and down he goes. Nowhere to hide. But hey, if nothing else, he got the queens out of position. I don't know, but lots of scouting has been done there by Happy. He should be quite happy with the amount of scouting that he did do. Was able to spot basically everything, whether he knows it or not. Since he didn't scout the backside, he doesn't know if there's anything hidden back there, but he knows that there's still hatchery tech. He knows that it's on 2 bases. What he does not know about is this Roach Warren, although he should know about it here pretty soon. I feel like these Roach Warrens, this Roach Warren is pretty defensively. Those Roaches going to be for any sort of Hellion run by, going to be for any sort of drop, any sort sort of Hellbat play, things like that. Not necessarily to try and do a timing attack where he's going to take his opponent by surprise with an overwhelming amount of roaches or anything like that. 4 Hellions right here, gotta try and run by. The Queens here should get some shots off. They decide to go ahead and try and give chase. Right now, though, the Hellions are loose inside the main base. Keep in mind, the Roach Warren is not done yet. These drones are indeed going to be lined up if they're not careful. A couple drones do get taken out here, but there's just enough Hellions here to really make this worth it now, as Lowly just suffering attack after attack. Even the Reaper harass was enough damage to make something like this even much more painful than it should be. And down go the drones. The Hellions over here are going to be quite content with themselves. 13 kills on that one Hellion there. That is not bad. He is a Sergeant Hellion. Don't know if he's ever going to live to see that promotion become useful. And one more shot. Does kill off one last drone there in the midst of all that chaos. So Lowly right now not in good shape at all. You can see him actually beginning to wall in right now. He's got the double Evo chambers on the way. He's got the Queen here to try and wall us in. A second Queen going to be on the way. A third Queen got to be joining the fun as well. Transferring drones from the natural to the main. That's when you know that you've lost a lot in the main base drops. Here come more Hellions right now. 4 Hellions here. Should not be able to make it past this Queen unless she's too... oh god, this is not good. This is not good at all. The Hellions going to be running inside the main base. Now normally this is going to be a Zergling run by against Terran, but nope. Today it's going to be the Hellion run by, just focusing down more and more and more drones. Honestly, I think Lowly's smart not to move too many of these drones because you always risk lining them up. But at the same time, these Hellions are still alive. Still no units out of Lowly. Lowly is literally just making drones after losing all of his drones, again. And that Hellion is still alive. Can get some scouting off. He does spot the lair tech. He knows that roaches are probably going to be on the way pretty soon. But really, if Happy loses this game after killing off 35 workers, then he made a mistake somewhere along the way. He's set himself up in this series so far in very good shape. I mean, this is only game number 1 out of a best of 5. The rocks right here slowly getting worked on down. Does he have a command center? Yes, he does. Already upgraded to an orbital. So really, I haven't been looking too much at Happy's base just because he's been so aggressive. But he is starting to transition now into mech, as he does have, you know, a handful of Marines here to start working down the rocks. He's got some Widow Mines for defense. But during that time, instead of building units, he was building production facilities. So he's going to be able to pretty soon start producing a lot of units all at once. You can see even adding on another factory in the midst. And I think that he was able to do this because he was able to be so aggressive and keep the Zerg player in his base. Now, is it going to be a mistake? Is going for mech this late in the game? Is going for mech, you know, with a big power push off of, what is it, 5 factories? 4 factories right now, but the 5th one is on the way. Is that going to be a mistake? Because the thing about mech is that it's very powerful throughout different stages of the game, but there's also unit compositions that can hard counter it. What do I mean by that? Well, for example, Mutalisks right now, if he pushes out with a huge mech army but has no anti-air, Mutalisks will kill everything off. Roaches can be very, very effective versus mech if used correctly with Burrow and getting good timing attacks right there. The siege tank right here should be able to siege up, scare these roaches away. I assume these roaches will go ahead and back up because they're currently getting shot by a siege tank. There you go. Probably don't want to stand there if you're getting shot by a siege tank. Just kind of a pro tip of the day there for anyone living in the StarCraft universe themselves as a real person. If you're getting shot by a siege tank, learn from Lowly. Go ahead and back on out of there. But for now, we do have +1/+1 on the way for both players. Of course, one's going to be for mech, one's going to be for Zerg Ground Army. There's going to be that Spire on the way like we were talking about. Now, the creep spread for Lowly, all things considered, is pretty darn good right now. It's something that we're seeing a lot of Zerg players really start to focus on and realizing that creep spread is super important. Even he's spreading the creep into the back of his 3rd base to help deal with drops. Not a bad choice there at all. Not only that, but it also gives you a little bit more map vision. So for that one click, he got this much more map vision, which is something that can play a big role. And on top of that, I mean, creep tumors, they have their own vision, so able to see everything going on in the center map, able to defend a 3rd and 4th much easier, which he does have on the way. The roaches are going to be working down on these rocks. They have to do a lot of work, though, to make that happen. And really, at some point, we should see Lowly just power mutos. I would assume it's right when this is going to finish. We have 1,300 gas. There is now a Thor on the way, so the Mutalisks may not be able to do that much harassment, but still having them out is really, really good because even with splash damage to the Thor versus mutos, a lot of times they don't do enough damage right away to actually end up making it worth it. So we'll see if that Thor manages to carry the anti-air banner or if he's going to have to start mixing in some Vikings. Keep in mind that Vikings do benefit from this armor attack that is on the way. It benefits both mech, ground, and air units, which is really, really cool for Terran and allows them to kind of get a lot more Vikings than they are used to. But 10 mutas on the way. We're going to see if Lowely can actually make something happen here. I think this is honestly a good transition for him. I think that catching the army by surprise in the center of the map could be huge, because you got to remember that when you are going mech, you are going to be having a lot of Hellbats just because they are basically free. They are the blue light special at Walmart. They are so cheap and pretty good. It's just the problem is, of course, that there's not a whole lot of anti-air, which is where the Thors come in, but they trickle in very, very slowly indeed. Here come the Mutalisks going to be flying in right now, and it looks like this base relatively undefended. There's the one missile turret up to the north, one to the south. This is enough Mutalisks to kill it off if the SCVs do not repair, but it's always one of those if situations. Do the SCVs go straight to the missile turret or not? He has now shown his hand. Lowly going to be coming in here now to the third base. He's saying, hey, you know what? I tried to go for mutas. I'm trying to hard counter you right now, and we'll see if it ends up working. I mean, killing off one refinery is nice. We'll go for a second one as well. Kills off the SCV, kills that off as well with no cancel whatsoever. And the Thor is here, though. Thor is here. If he gets off just one shot, it could be huge. Mutalisks there realizing, all right, it is time to boogie, and they get the hell out of there just because they were taking a lot of damage right from the get-go. Creep stretch from Lowly, though, still looking pretty top-notch. There's going to be a scan right there, narrowly missing the Mutalisks there, so he may not know exactly where they are. He's got to try and back up the Thors, though, preemptively. The base over here has got a lot of missile turrets, and this is one of those things where Mutalisks are nice because it's going to force missile turrets, and missile turrets are basically an indirect way of hurting your opponent. Right now, these Mutalisks are hurting the, are getting hurt by those missile turrets, and the Mutalisks way overextending themselves. They're trying to find a sweet spot to attack, but this has been an absolute disaster. These Mutas have nowhere to go. Well, this is the world's most expensive scout is really all I can say about that. Now, he is somehow still in the lead in supply, but unable to kill off his missile turret. Going to be losing all those Mutas. So now his harassment capabilities are done. Zergling speed not even done yet. You can see Lowly in really bad shape here, trying to make it happen. The Hellbats here killing off these creep tumors, doing a pretty darn good job of it as well. And Zerglings over here, slow links indeed. Those Hellbats, oh god, they do not have the blue flame upgrade though, so they do no additional damage versus light. For some reason, it's 2 additional damage versus light once you have upgrades. I don't know quite what's up with that, but it is what it is, and the Roach is going to be taking out these Hellbats. So I guess a minor victory there, but guess what? Empire happy is ahead in supply, which is really no surprise here, just because, you know, you have your Thors, you have your siege tanks, and all those Hellbats. They take up supply extremely quickly. We should be seeing a big scan come up. There it is. If there's anything that can end up making him lose the game, it's going to be a huge surround with Zerglings and Roaches. This game might actually just be over here in a moment, though, because those Zerglings are going to melt away immediately. Baneling's actually going to be the unit of choice right now. Does clean up the Hellbats, gets some nice hits on the rest of the units. Can the Roaches finish off the rest here? Maybe I count out Lowly too soon. The Baneling's actually playing a big pivotal role in this battle, and all of a sudden Happy does not have a whole lot left. He has no way of retreating, and that army, see you later. I think Banshees mixed in would have been ideal, but I mean, there's really no way to predict that there's going to be absolutely no anti-air for Zerg, and instead it's going to be Banelings. We almost never see Banelings versus mech. I mean, we used to see, I think, Nest T do it a long time ago, but for the most part, I think we're slowly starting to see it resurge. Either way, we're going to go with Resurge just because that name sounds awesome. But either way, Baneling's very good at taking out the Hellbats, and really killing out the Hellbats quickly and efficiently is something that you need to do to be able to deal with the bulk of the army. That's exactly what Lowly did, and now Lowly is out for blood. We'll be able to kill off those rocks. That now opens up an alternate attack, counter-attack path for Zerglings. We do have the Command Center now on the way for Happy, as he is trying to get up to a 5th base. Now, right now it is 4-base Terran versus 4-base Zerg, so do not count out Terran by any means. Bunker is actually going to be on the way. This is actually kind of cool here to help wall this in. But at this point, I mean, it was such good creep start from Lowly. The fact that he's gone uncontested for a little while, now that he has Hive Tech on the way, now he's got Enduring Locust on the way, which also Locust very, very, very strong versus mech. The reason that is because, again, those units are very high supply, and if you kill off any of them, I mean, it's just a huge loss in that army, and if you're using Locust to do it, then it is absolutely worth it. And also, they do not regenerate HP, so ending up losing any of those units is a huge deal. But here comes a huge, huge attack of the Roaches. Seeker Missile is going to be coming out. I think that's a lot of splash damage being dealt by those Seeker Missiles. It does look like the Roaches are going to be able to clean up the rest of this, and all of a sudden, I mean, Lowly looking to be in good shape, should have lots of money in the bank, and he does. Greater Spire could be an option here as we have a second Spire on the way. I believe we have 2 Spires now, right? Is that, am I tripping? Yep, there's 1 Spire down here, 1 in the main base. Production showing nothing being built there, but 19 swarm hosts on the way. This is one of those situations where Lowely had a lot of money to burn. It's like his inheritance, basically, and he had to decide, do I want the Ferrari or do I want the Lamborghini? Decides to go with the swarm host instead, probably because that's going to be doing a lot more damage than the car, but we'll have to wait and see if the swarm hosts actually end up doing what they're designed to do, which is deal with mech. And, you know, honestly, I think that it can work. It's just one of those builds that's very, very, very risky to do, just because Banshees can kind of wreck your world if you don't have a lot of anti-air, which at this point, Lowely does not. 180 supply to 180. All of a sudden, this game's starting to get a little bit of steam right now because the Ravens do have enough energy for more Seeker missiles, but at the same time, Zerg is going to be going for the counterattack. No units actually inside these bunkers. We do have a planetary fortress on the way, but guess what? This is wide open. These lanes can get through here easily. I do like the planetary down here, but I don't know if it's going to be too little too late, as the Lynx here are going to be doing lots of damage and nothing else, forcing the army in the back and also forcing him to reveal exactly what his army actually is, which is a lot of Thors kind of mixed in, a couple of Hellbats, and this is what I'm talking about. Locust, I mean, killing off siege tanks for essentially free, and especially when those siege tanks are on creep, they can't really quite outrun these, and that's a good way to take out those auto turrets as well. Auto turrets used to be very frustrating for Zerg to deal with. Here comes some Seeker missiles right now. Big splash damage coming up. Not enough to kill off the Infestor just yet, or excuse me, the Swarm Host just yet, but I gotta say that Lowely's being very, very, very aggressive with the positioning of these. He needs to get some static defense right now. That's exactly what he's got going on. Spore Crawlers are on the way. Hellbats attempting to move on in, and we'll be able to do quite a bit of damage here. Splash damage to those Locusts will be massive, but at the same time, Locusts are free, so he's got to be able to kill off those Swarm Hosts if possible. Siege tanks are almost in range. You can see one of them might actually be in range of some of these Swarm Hosts. They do go ahead and back out, and the reason you're seeing Happy be able to hold this off and even push it back at this point is that I think Lowely got a little bit too aggressive with the positioning of his Swarm Host. Really did not wait for time for the stack defense or anything like that. Auto turrets do buy a little bit of time, though, in these kind of weird attacks, absorbing a lot of damage. But guess what? Siege tanks are now in range once again. 2 Swarm Hosts do go down. They're going to have to back up here a lot and then re-burrow. I guess maybe just back up a little bit if he wants to. Re-burrow and send another volley towards these Thors. Killing out the Thors would be quite nice. And actually, those Thors are caught out of position right now. Might actually end up losing them if he's not careful. The auto turret, though, apparently saving the day here. And you get rid of the auto turret, will be on auto attack just because it's an auto turret. It automatically does it. The Thors, on the other hand, able to escape for a little bit. One Thor does eventually die, though. And Lowely really sticking with this Swarm Host play. Mass Swarm Host needs to get a volley up and going, and here we go right now. That's going to be the exact volley that he needed. At the same time, though, we mentioned Banshees. That's exactly what we're seeing here as these Banshees start going to town on those Swarm Hosts. The Queens, though, able to join on in the fight and scare these away. Cloaking is on the way. That is for Banshees. That is not for the Ghosts, which means these Banshees, if they are backed up by Vikings, can easily deal with these Swarm Hosts. But at the same time, I don't know if there's enough stuff here to kill off all these Swarm Hosts, and that should be another volley here pretty darn soon. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to kill the Terran Air Army. I mean, Sky Terran, not really that terrifying, except for Mass Raven, which is exactly what we're seeing right now. And looks like the Swarm Hosts going to try and move in with more and more Locusts, but you know, at this point, I feel like the damage has already been dealt. But at the same time, Happy is at 193 supplies. Kind of switching it up to Sky Terran and these Swarm Hosts. I don't know if they're going to be able to do enough damage here. These units are just microing in and out. Sure, you can kill off 2 Hellbats, maybe an auto turret, but guess what? Still maxed out with a lot of money in the bank. And I really am surprised at how aggressive Lowely was with these. Here's a big counterattack over here. There is a planetary, but guess what? Banelings, when they die, they're going to be killing off something. So lots of damage dealt to the economy down here. These Banelings killing off all the SCVs. That's going to hurt the income substantially. And does manage to kill off a couple more tanks here. And you can see the income slowly dipping down below 1,500, now in the 1,300s. And those mules up there, oh, this is actually in the red. Is it being repaired? At this point, no, it's not. Happy may not realize that this is burning down. Oh, he does. He's repairing it already, but does almost end up losing that. The Raven's ready to go. Keep in mind that a transition into Mass Raven is very, very common for some Zerg now. If the game starts getting to the late stages of the thing, you need Ravens to be able to see people. You need the point of Minstrels and all of that. You also need the protection, which is, don't forget about that. That's quite useful. But it does look like right now, Viper is getting mixed in. Where did they go? I feel like these Vipers are a little bit late to the party. Not a whole lot they're going to be able to do here. Maybe protect the Swarm Host, but I honestly do not know Maybe it was a misclick. Let's take a look at it. I mean, it's just one Viper on the field here. Does decide to go ahead and start eating up one of these evolution chambers. You can see that +3 armor is not done. Not going to be any Thors on the way, or excuse me, not Thors, but Ultralisk on the way. More Thors are on the way. 3 Thors, in fact. Happy freeing up some supply here, and he's got to be moving forward Pacific Rim style, man, using his giant robots to try and kill these Zerg bugs. And got to be careful here, though. Locust against Sea Tanks and Pom-Pom Bow. That's going to be some free kills right now. But honestly, I mean, I just don't really know what Lowely can do here in game number 1. It's 171 supply versus 197 for Happy. The Sea Tanks is pushing forward, cleaning up all of this creep. I mean, there's just so many creep tumors. How could you even get all of it? It's basically impossible. But at this point, it does look like right now the Raven's ready to go. The Raven cloud is getting a little bit ridiculous. Let's take a look at the overall Raven count. 17 Ravens. That is so much money invested. Are these secret missiles? No. It's got to be auto turrets first. Queens are out, but I mean, really, the Queens don't serve any purpose other than just to transfuse each other. Really would have liked to see this many Queens if he decides to go for Ultralisks, but at this point, Lowly is running out of options, and Happy going to be in pretty darn good shape right now. And he's saying, you know what, the Hellbat nerf doesn't affect me all that much. Let's just go ahead and win some games straight up. One Thor does go down. Indeed it does. 194 supply now to 124. +3 range attack is on the way for Lowly. It finishes up as these Locusts are going to town. But I gotta say, I mean, what is Lowly to do right now other than just try to attack with Locust after Locust after Locust? And will be able to actually kill off this planter if it doesn't lift off, which it very, oh my god. God, Locusts have such insane DPS. 15 damage with a 0.8 attack speed on a unit that's basically free, but I can't even say that right now because the Swarm Host is all he's got left, and they were not free. 9 Ultras are going to be on the way. I don't know if this is actually enough to save the day or not, but killing out the Sea Tanks is going to be a great, great start. And look at the Locust right there, taking out more and more tanks. See if these Ultras can actually finish the job. I honestly don't know how this starts to shape up with so many Ravens in the air. How do you get air superiority? I honestly do not know. That is a question for the ages. 9 Ultralisks in all, 4 of them spawning right now from the east, and 2 spawning from the west. Going to be attacking all at the same time. Might actually be able to clean this up, and he does. You got to remember that a lot of supply is actually in Ravens, which is where Infestors would be nice, Mutalisks would be nice, Hydras would be nice, just something to help deal with that. But for now, these Ravens will survive, and I don't really want to count out Empire Happy by any means as long as he has Ravens. So here comes the attack. I'm wondering if Lowly can actually do this. He's down in supply by quite a lot. He's got to know that he's not in a good spot. He knows he can't really expand here, so he is just going to freaking go for it, and we shall see if Happy can actually hang on. Happy staying at 200 supply at almost all times. 5 Thors on the way here as well, and that means these Ultras not going to be able to do all that much. Yep, they eventually get taken out. Secret Missiles coming out. This is not looking good for Lowly, but an awesome game here by Empire Happy. Tons of fun to be had, and there's going to be GG in game number 1. This has been from a very recent Zotac Cup, so I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys next time.